The world is changing quickly, and Canada is right at the heart of it. Prime Minister Mark Carney just arrived in Malaysia for the 2025 ASEAN Summit, and his arrival made waves. From a red carpet welcome to military honors, Asia's leaders made it clear, Canada matters. For years, Canada's global role was all about being close to the United States. But that's not the case anymore. Carney's visit marks a new chapter, where Canada steps forward as an independent and influential nation. The world is waking up to what Canada has to offer: stability, innovation, and forward-thinking leadership. Carney isn't in Malaysia just for handshakes and photos. He's here to redefine Canada's place in the world. At the summit, he's expected to push for a bold plan to double Canada's exports outside the U.S. in the next 10 years. This isn't just about business, it's about Canada standing on its own. And maybe the most important sign? Even though President Trump is present, there's no meeting planned between him and Carney. Canada isn't seeking attention from Washington. Instead, Carney is creating new partnerships in Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, and Seoul, places where the future's growth will happen. This visit isn't just symbolic. It's all about real strategy.
Good morning, I'm Matt Scooby. This is CTV News Channel. Thanks for being with us. We start with U.S. President Donald Trump abruptly terminating all trade negotiations with Canada over an anti-tariff ad paid for by the province of Ontario. It's been airing on most major networks in the United States. Here is a bit of that ad.
High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars.
The Ontario government paid $75 million for the ad that features the voice of former U.S. President Ronald Reagan from a radio address back in May of 1987. And earlier this morning, Trump posting once again about the ad, doubling down in a way, saying Canada got, quote, cheated and got caught. Trump goes on to claim that Canada fraudulently said that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs, which Trump claims he loved, even also claiming that Canada was trying to illegally influence the upcoming Supreme Court ruling on Trump's tariffs as well.
A lot of experts say that half of success is just showing up. And Carney didn't just show up for a summit, he showed up to help shape a new identity for Canada. Now, Canada isn't just the quiet neighbor of the United States anymore. It's starting to become a confident, self-reliant global player. Carney's message to Asia is clear. Canada is a reliable and serious partner, and we're here for the long run. Under his leadership, Canada is trying to stand for something the world really needs: a system based on rules, where cooperation is valued over force. It's about building a global economy based on trust, not threats. And through all this, one thing stands out: Canada is not America. The country's leadership style, its diplomacy, and its economic vision are all different. Carney understands something that most Western leaders have missed. Asia is now the center of gravity for the world's economy. It handles more than half of global trade in goods and services. Carney knows that Canada's future success is closely tied to Asia's rise.
So, look, if you're to take his social media posts over the past 12 hours or so at face value, this move to terminate the negotiations is all about the ad. You got to keep in mind now that his posts about the ad are littered with falsehoods. He calls it fraudulent for saying that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs, that he actually loved tariffs. He calls it fake in all caps, even though the ad uses Reagan's own words from a radio address. And Trump repeatedly attributes the ad to Canada rather than Ontario. But hey, in Donald Trump's history of saying things that aren't true, that's probably pretty small potatoes. Still, he did specifically say that what he called Canada's egregious behavior is why he was terminating the talks.
This summit isn't about pushing away the U.S. It's about ending Canada's dependence on it. For ages, Canadian decisions were shaped by what Washington wanted, not what Ottawa really needed. Now Carney's vision is turning things around. He sees the world as it actually is, not how it used to be. The future of growth, trade, and innovation is in Asia. That's not something the U.S. or anyone else can change. So Carney's strategy is clear. Stop waiting for America's approval and start leading with true Canadian ambition. In this new century, Canada's influence won't come from being America's closest ally. It'll come from being the world's most reliable alternative.
Something slightly different here coming from Kevin Hassett. He's the director of Trump's National Economic Council, a very senior advisor to the president. He was speaking to reporters outside the White House this morning, and he was asked why the trade talks with Canada were called off. He said that Trump is frustrated with Canada and that it's not just about the ad. Take a listen.
I think the frustration has built up over time. I've been involved in some of these negotiations, and the Canadians have been very difficult to negotiate with. And you look at all the countries around the world that we've made deals with, and the fact that we're now negotiating with Mexico separately reveals that it's not just about one ad, that there's frustration that's built up.
But here's what makes this even more fascinating. Just hours after Trump's announcement, Mark Carney delivered a line that sent ripples through diplomatic circles. Without naming Trump, he said, "The 1980s were a different time. U.S. trade policy used to reflect shared prosperity." That one sentence was enough because everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. It was Carney's calm way of saying, "You can lie about history all you want, but Canada remembers. Reagan built bridges, Trump burns them, and Canada will never again build its future around an unpredictable neighbor who weaponizes trade for politics."
We can't control the trade policy of the United States. We recognize that that policy has fundamentally changed from the policy in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. And it's a situation where the United States has tariffs against every one of their trading partners to different degrees. And it's in that context that our officials, my colleagues, have been working with their American colleagues on detailed, constructive negotiations, discussions on specific transactions, specific sectors, steel, aluminum, and energy. And a lot of progress has been made.
After Malaysia, Carney's heading to Singapore and South Korea, building new connections that benefit both sides. He's not making demands, he's bringing opportunity. But opening the door is just the start. Now it's up to Canadians, business owners, students, universities, and innovators to step forward. For years, Canada focused on Europe and the US, but Carney's push is about changing that, diversifying trade, partnerships, and even the way we think. The message is simple. Asia isn't an afterthought. It's the future. Success isn't only about trade numbers or GDP. It's about real connections. Students studying abroad, companies investing, and towns growing through new partnerships. Trade deals are quick, but real relationships take time, and Carney knows this journey has just begun. Asia's leaders see Carney as a realist, someone who listens and builds trust. His presence is seen as a turning point for Canada, showing calm leadership, not just following others. Canada isn't waiting for an invitation, it's making its own place. This is a new Canada, trading with Asia, innovating with Europe, and investing worldwide. Carney's leadership stands for diplomacy, strength, and independence. The message from Kuala Lumpur to Washington is clear. Canada has moved on, and a new era of leadership has begun. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories on Canada's future, because right now this is history in motion, and Canada is leading the way.